Hello, friends! Best greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Victor Fursov. I'm a research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher, and this is my stream about insects and about entomology, science about insects. So join our stream. We can talk about insects, about beetles, wasps, flies, dragonflies, about different insects, phytophagous insects, predaceous insects, parasitic insects, insects which are flying everywhere around. We just caught all the global Earth all around. By the way, greetings to people who is joining us on telephone and who is joining us on screen on their home computer. Just we have translation to both lines because some people are scrolling telephone line, some people just sitting home, relaxing, drinking Coca-Cola and eating chips, watching computer, and someone who is just entertaining them. So today I am going to entertain you about some phytophagous and parasitic and seed-feeding insects. Today I wanted to go to outside for some field collecting in a cold time. Just, the temperature is now about +5 degrees centigrade, little bit cold for entomological collection. But nevertheless, if you're an entomologist, you know some places where you can collect insects somewhere in secret place, even in a cold time, in cold autumn, or in cold winter, or in a cold spring before wonderful hot summer. And I wanted to go to collect some fruits of rose, Rosa Rugosa, ROSEHIP. By the way, I have a very big bunch of fruits on one shrub, very big one near my apartment building, the place where I'm collecting ROSEHIP several years. But just now, it's autumn time. Sunset is coming very quickly. It became dark. So by the way, so I decided to collect insects. Don't show the place because it's dark, but I will show you these insects inside fruits, and I can tell you about how to collect and why I collected them. So I went to my shrub of Rosa Rugosa, just ROSEHIP. There are different species of rose. You are living in Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzia, or Kazakhstan. Maybe you have different species of rose, not only Rosa Rugosa, different wild species. So you can collect different species in India, in Thailand, in Australia, in North America, in South America as well. Because the rose is a widely spread genus of family Rosaceae. And I collected some of these fruits because they will be still on shrub during the winter and springtime. No birds coming to eat it because they're drying and becoming very hard. For them, it's quite difficult to feed on such strange fruits, which are just soft in the beginning and they're drying very quickly. So I collected just, you see, whole big dish. And I have a second one in the kitchen. I collected so many fruits of ROSEHIP. For what? For collecting seed-feeding insects. To collect seed-feeding chalcid wasps of family Megastigmidae, maybe some others. To collect seed-feeding chalcid wasps of a superfamily Chalcidoidea. And they're sitting here inside these fruits. They're living inside fruits, they're living inside seeds. And it's great fun to collect them, to dry them. They will still survive during winter time and will emerge in early spring. That's a great fun. It's possible to put it outside in a cold place, for instance, to cold balcony, to freeze them a little bit, but it's not obviously necessary. Eventually, seed-feeding chalcid wasp will emerge in early spring or in late winter. Just put it somewhere in cages, in glasses, like small one, or I use it. Initially, I need to dry it, actually. It's very important to dry it because fungi will come to your jar to your glass if you will put it just all together just now, because still fruits are very soft. But insects, chalcid wasps, megastemus genus, were sitting inside fruits, inside seeds, were developing slowly and will emerge in early spring and late winter at home conditions, in laboratory conditions into warm temperature. I have put them already here, for instance, to transparent container. Transparent container quite easy to observe it, so you can take off the lid. You can watch what's going on inside. I take off lid. You can take off some fruits, by the way, or just when it's closed, imaged insects just look around in here around, and I collected them part by part and separated them dry to some Appendorf dishes, Appendorf tubes, because we were crowding here quite a lot of them. But there are many females will come in and not very few males. I'm interested to search for some males to differentiate some species, because some species have males, some species have no males. It depends from parthenogenetics, some biological features of behavior. So quite interesting to observe how they are crowding, and I recorded just a bunch of videos about them. So you can see my megastemus phytophagous seed feeding chalcid wasp on my channel. But still a lot of can be done. Each new material can give you just a little bit more variation, diversity of insects, diversity in coloration and size, maybe some males, maybe some females of very special coloration. So colors can be different in different seasons. You don't know why. So better to collect more material as possible, as much as possible, to collect big containers, more containers are coming for collecting. So if I will have opportunity to find it in another place, I have to collect more material. And how to keep it? I can keep it in these containers for rearing, for this rearing container, or I can put all these seeds in, as I showed already before. You can put it to some kind of emergence traps. You can make very easily emergent traps like this one. Here you can put in separate containers, or you can put your seeds like here inside this tissue bag. Tissue bag might be very strong, don't allow insects to escape, and attach here just something after the tomato from a glass jar from kitchen, and attach it with a cord toughly. So all insects gradually and eventually will emerge, maybe winter time, maybe springtime. So and they will come just to the light, to the glass. So you don't need to open tissue bag to just break maybe a little bit insects. All insects, not all insects, but most of insects, majority of them will emerge and they will hatch and will be crowding slowly inside this glass, and you will be very surprised to find first of them maybe in winter, maybe in springtime. It depends from the temperature in your laboratory. If it's cold, maybe later. If it is warm, like fortunately now, maybe earlier. So the earlier the better. So you will have first material for mounting, for collecting, for sorting. And here you can put any kind of seeds. Like here I put here seed of Lepidoptera. I showed you already this in my previous videos, these huge bins. I can try to show you. And close it with cord for sure. For instance, here I put another seed like this one to receive some beetles from these seeds. These seeds of Lepidoptera, honey locust in English name. And you can find sometimes some holes, emergent holes, and these two species of Megabrochidius are making these holes in spring and autumn time, there are some parasitoids which are living on larvae and pupae, just a bunch of a special group. Even we described in Ukraine, in Kyiv, one new species of Eurytoma hlidice from family Eurytomidae. You see here different small beans, seeds inside this big pod. So this is quite common. In some countries, this species, Hlidice, is introduced an invasive species, so no beetles inside. But in some countries, latest record was about Bulgaria and about Croatia. This beetle, Megabroochidius, is spreading everywhere, just gradually catching new and new places. So the same. If you put some seeds inside bag and attach it to the emergence, the last box, last jar, last container, insects which are hatching will come out. They will be coming to the light inside this emergence last box. Collect. Or you can open these beans, these pods, and watch carefully separately for seeds. But for ROSEHIP, it's not necessary to open. Beans you can open and watch inside, because beetles are making just a very big holes in seeds. But for ROSEHIP, for fruits of rose, you don't need to open it. You see, but first you need to put it like here to dry them, to dry all these fruits. And wasps, seed-feeding wasps, Megastemus, are sitting inside and waiting for their successful development and then emergence. So they will eventually coming out. And also I can show you some literature. So this is a method of rearing insects from seeds. Very easy, very simple, very fruitful, and not very much time consuming. Only time consuming is collecting seeds, collecting fruits, finding them in appropriate place, putting them in appropriate emergence traps or in just glass jars, in containers, and to put especially important, put label of about place of collecting, place of where it was collected, with name of collector and date of collecting, and then date of emergence of someone insects which will come in very soon in late winter, at home conditions, laboratory conditions, or in springtime. But insects will come eventually from these seeds, either from pods, either from fruits, or from some beans, for example, or other seeds which you can collect. Now, of course, you can ask me what literature I can use to check some names, to check some plants, to check some insects which are breeding somewhere inside seeds, inside fruits. I have some literature which was published in Ukraine, so I show you some literature about seed-feeding insects and also about gall-forming insects. Seed-feeding insects mostly here observed the chalcid wasps, because this is a book of Rosa Rugosa with name Chalcid wasp, seed feeding of Palearctics. Chalcid wasp of Palearctic region. Here are description of species, many species, description, distribution, key for identification, and of course drawings of recorded species, including some species which are developing on the ROSEHIP as well, from families Eurytomidae, from families Taurimidae, families Megastigmidae, with indication of some seeds and adults here, like from almond, the seed-feeding insects, these seed-feeding chalcid wasps which are developing on almond seeds, and with some damaged fruits of almond, seeds of almond, for example. So here, more than 200 species described worldwide as a seed-feeding insect. Again, you see seed box, seed flower, and some damaged seed pods. Here, family Eurytomidae. Majority here, family Eurytomidae, because Dr. Zero was specialist on Eurytomidae. And here about development of larvae, pupae inside seeds, some details about their development. Or here, like some seeds of Astera or Fabaceae family. Like here, some pods of Fabaceae family, or probably Pseudoacacia. So you see, this is a pod with small seeds. Seeds can be pretty small, so but insects, seed-feeding insects, can be small as well. So it's quite funny, but small insects are developing in small seeds, and quite a bigger insects are developing in a bigger seeds as well. Sometimes it's really very small. You cannot imagine that someone is living inside seeds. If you can collect some seeds, obviously, probably there are some seed-feeding insects. Whatever you are living, what region is you are living, it depends. So maybe some new species in some distant areas, in some unstudied areas, in some very hidden places, in some distant countries, completely unstudied and unknown for the science. So seed-feeding insects are a very huge group of which should be studied step by step in different countries, in different regions. So these are seed-feeding chalcid wasp of Palearctic region. And quite close subject about seed-feeding insects. This is a subject about insects which are developing in some special creations which can be found on plants. Such creations like galls, gall-forming insects. These are a huge group. This is not only one group. This group includes many orders of insects. And these insects were counted, were described, were mentioned, were put in some identification keys in these 3 volumes of books. These are gall-forming insects of order Hymenoptera, then order Diptera, and some other orders as well. Insects from another orders, insects from order Hemiptera, Lepidoptera, Beetles, Coleoptera, and Homoptera. So quite a lot of orders of insects which are infesting different plants, infesting and making special galls, special swollen stems, swollen leaves, swollen different parts, flower pods, like here, only acari. Some small acari are not included here. Here about insects, gall-forming insects. So, different insects are making galls on leaves, on stems, on branches, on leaves, near flowers, near flower pods, damaging plants, making the deformations. And a huge number of insects are developing inside these galls from different orders. So you see, in these books, there are keys for identification, description of some species and genera, keys for identification galls, because sometimes galls quite similar but different. So it's possible to identify not only using adults or larvae of insects, but using also the picture and photos and drawing of different gall-forming insects, because these deformations are also quite different for different genera, different species, different orders of insects. So it can be quite useful for plant protection specialists. I can try to show you some pictures from the volume with Diptera. Here not white, here it was published many years ago, but it was carefully done for many species, for many genera, with indication different photographs for different groups. It's not colorful pictures, not in color, but white and black, but all necessary details which are indicated on photographs and details I indicated in keys, identification keys, and in description inside this book. About gall formers, the order Diptera flies. For different swollen stems, leaves, branches, flower pods, different parts, seeds, swollen seeds, which are made by different groups of insects. And here on for Hymenoptera, as I am most interested in Hymenoptera, so because I am studying these tiny parasitic wasps of the family Trichogrammatide, which is here, this one, some other parasitoids, and other here chalcid wasps, phytophagous, developing on different plants, or parasitoids. So here many cynipoids, cynipid chalcid wasps, cynipid wasps from its superfamily Cynipoidea, some sawflies. Yes, for instance, here some galls on oak tree, quite famous one. Oak tree, sometimes completely covered with different galls of different shape. They were very, very different. Variation of galls from small size balls to big one, really very different. On leaves, on stems, near pods, on bark, big one, small one, very hard, very soft. Absolutely different. Great variation of different cynipoid wasps are making different types of galls. And also such group as Sympheta or sawflies making a lot of galls. And here some colorful pictures of galls on oak tree leaves, for example. Again, same method of collecting is useful to collect. Important to collect some galls of different shape separately, to put them in separate jars, in separate containers, for separation of species, preliminary, put it in just kind of emergence traps, and it's possible to breed, to rear different species of gall-making insects from this type, for instance, of galls, and possible to get the parasitoids, which are emerging later after gall-forming insects. So this is a way of collecting gall formers and parasitoids of gall formers as well. So this is a story about insects, gall-forming insects. Like here, some swollen pieces of plants on grain, on wheat, and some other grasses. Sometimes some species were pests of wheat, for instance, but now we're suppressed by some pesticides. But then on wild species of different Graminaceae species family, many native and natural gall-forming insects are developing. So you see here some small swollen pieces on the stem of grasses. They belong, I guess, to family Eurythmidae, chalcid wasps, and sometimes some other groups. These are Eurythmidae. There can be different stems can be damaged in different way. I'm not here. All damages of stems which are done by different gall-forming insects. This was a story about seed-feeding insects, some phytophagous insects, and a little bit about parasitoids which are feeding on phytophagous insects like here, chalcid wasps, which are very diverse, very widely spread. They are just waiting different phytophagous insects like ctenopoids, flies, beetles, bugs, and others to infest them in their hidden place in a very concealed stem, inside leaf, inside the mine, inside the gall. They attack them and they developing inside host or on the host because they are parasitoids which are indicated here on this poster on background. Thank you for coming to our stream. Thank you for your interest and curiosity. It will be recorded and put on the web. Thank you for interest. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe if you are coming for your first time after this stream. Welcome to our new streams with collection of insects or with collection in petri dish with living insects or with collection of dead insects in entomological collection inside some boxes. We are planning new streams about collection of beetles and butterflies, night moths on this weekend with my friend, colleague of amateur entomologist from Ukraine. So wait for announcement on channel. And second stream I am planning in communication with, and I am communicating with amateur entomologists from Indonesia. Maybe it will be done if everything will be all right also on this weekend, about insects and about some other arthropods and creatures which are living in Indonesia. So it will be insects and arthropods from Indonesia, from tropics of Indonesia. He was enthusiastically supported my idea. I proposed him to show a little bit some collected arthropods in his hands, because he will be working somewhere in a forest or near the rice field and making some comments what he did collect. If we will have well done connection on Wi-Fi, on a mobile telephone, if connection will be all right, we will have our mutual stream also on this weekend between Ukraine and Indonesia. Hopefully it will be funny because tropical insects and tropical creatures, different arthropods and not only arthropods, really big sometimes, quite a huge, I say, huge spiders, huge beetles, huge bugs, huge some centipedes, some isopods, quite huge one. And he's showing this insect on his channel. Maybe we will try to show it on mutual stream altogether, half screen or full screen, with this interesting arthropod creatures from Indonesia. So I invite you to check my announcement, to check my channel from time to time, and you will find new stream from Indonesia as well, or from Ukraine about insects in scientific collection and an amateur collection. So thank you for interest, thank you for curiosity. Press like for promotion of video, write your comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you are coming for the first time. Write your questions in any language. You can use Google Translator. And people are not very active today writing chat messages, at least because it's daytime weekend. It's not a weekend time. Oh, one funny beetle was coming. Nice weevil. Nice weevil was coming. Lovely. Sitting somewhere just on fruits of ROSEHIP. It will go to the jar with some food. Lovely, lovely one small weevil. Just not hatched, maybe it was hiding somewhere inside fruit, between fruits. Or maybe he was developing on some branches and just hatched because he a worm. So I will show you this weevil later. Thank you for coming. Press like, don't forget. Visit my Patreon page for sponsorship or button for sponsor to join our membership on channel. And don't forget, stand with Ukraine. Support Ukraine. Help Ukraine. Support Ukraine. Join the forces of Ukraine to fight for Ukraine. And Ukraine will win. Ukraine forever. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to see you on our next stream as soon as possible. Good luck. Best greetings from Kyiv, capital of Ukraine. Bye-bye. See you soon in next streams.